Hey everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for clicking on this video. If you've clicked on this video, you're probably excited to learn how to make an envelope, and I am really excited too because I purchased this punch board. It's made by We Are Memory Keepers, and it does 3 things all in one board. You can make an envelope, a bow, and a box. For this video, we are only going to be doing the envelope, but let me know down in the comments if you're interested in learning more about the box and the bow. Also, later on in this video, I will show you all the other things that this can do as well, and it's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I need to send out a few cards that I have made, and I thought, how fun would it be just to make my own envelopes and make them really pretty and be able to match up my pattern paper with the theme of my card. So this is really basic. So all you're going to need to make your own envelope is you're going to need the scoreboard with this scoring tool. It comes with it. In fact, I already had it taken out, but the little scoring tool just tucks right into the side here. So you're going to need the scoreboard. You're going to need some type of adhesive. I'm going to be using this score tape. It's really nice and makes quick and easy work out of assembling the envelope at the end. You're going to need some paper. I actually would recommend that you do a double-sided pattern paper or a double-sided paper just because it makes it more fun when you have a really interesting inside of your envelope as well. This one is very light, but there is a pattern on there. But also, you do not have to have double-sided pattern paper. There also is a way for you to create with the punch board an inner lining for your envelope in case you fall in love with a piece of scrapbook paper that actually is just one-sided, which honestly, when I was trying to find paper for this project or for these 3 envelopes I wanted to do, I just realized how much one-sided paper I do have. So it's nice to know that you can make your own liners, and I'll show you that later. I'm not going to demonstrate it, but I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. In addition to the paper, the only other thing you're going to need is a paper trimmer to trim it down to the desired size. So punch board, adhesive, paper, and paper trimmer. Let's go ahead and get started by trimming down our paper. Now, when you open up this little panel on the punch board, you are going to see 3 sections, and the 3 sections are going to outline the 3 projects you can do. Again, I'll tell you at the very end the additional projects you can do, but the little teal section is going to be for envelopes. That's what we'll focus on today. This little gray section is for bows, and then this final gold section is for constructing the boxes. So I have 3 A2 size cards that I want to mail out, so I am going to focus on creating A2 size envelopes. So what I'm going to do is on these little panels here, they are showing you what dimensions your card is, and then when you locate the size of your card, so I am going to be doing A2, if you can read that. It is so teeny tiny, and I will be zooming in a little bit later, but we have to trim down our paper first. But this is the A2 size that I'm focusing on because my cards are 5.5 by 4.25. And so it tells me there that I am going to need to trim down my panel to 8.25, or my paper. My paper needs to be trimmed down to 8.25 by 8.25. And then there's also another number here that we will reference later when we begin scoring on the actual board. So all you're going to do simply is come over, find what size card you have, and it will tell you what size envelope and dimensions you will need to start with. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side for one moment. In fact, let me just double check that I know my dimensions. Again, I'm doing A2, so I need to trim my paper to 8.25. So let me grab my paper trimmer, and I'll trim all 3 pieces at the same time just because it's easier to do it all at once when I get the paper trimmer out. Okay, so bringing in my paper trimmer, I have 3 pieces of paper that I want to use. So I'm going to start with my first piece. I'm going to place it at 8.25. Line it up, and then trim, always keeping my extra pieces because I use them more often than not. They add up for sure. And then 8.25 once more, making sure that's really lined up nice and straight. Okay, and trim. Okay, I'll go ahead and trim the next 2 pieces of paper the exact same way. So I have my 3 pieces of pattern paper, and we will just begin one by one. So for my first piece, let's choose this piece right here. And I'm just going to bring in the punch board. Then what I'm going to do is there is a little arm. So let me open it up first. Okay. And there is a little arm down at the bottom, and it's called the score extender. And you're just going to open that up so that the score line can extend onto this additional piece. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this all the way up so we can see the whole punch board in the frame here. And then what we're going to do is we are going to do, remember there was that other number. So we looked at A2 right here. And then the next thing we did was we trimmed our paper to 8 1/4. And then there's an additional number here, and this number is 3 5/8. I had to take a peek at it myself. It's so tiny, 3 5/8, and that is where we are going to line up our paper on the actual scoreboard. So I'm going to go ahead and take my paper, and I am going to line it up at 3 5/8. So here, okay. 3 5/8. And once I have that lined up, what I can do is punch down, and I can remove the little score tool, and I am going to score on A. So there is an A and a B underneath. So there is envelope score line A and B. We're going to score at A. So I'm going to go ahead and just score all the way down. Okay. Then the next thing I can do is take my paper out. I'm going to turn it once. Then I'm going to line up my score line. There's also a little line here. It's another little score line. And I'm going to line up the line that I just scored with that line. So I'm going to line it up. I'm not doing any alignment up here. I am simply lining up this line that I just scored with this line here. Okay, once I have that lined up, I can press down, and then I'm going to score on A once more. See, there's A and there's B. So I'm going to go on A. Okay, then I can take it out, turn, line up my score line. Okay. Punch and score on A. Take it out, rotate, line up my score line. Okay. Punch and score on A. Okay, now that can be where you are all done, but I like to come up to the top piece. I'm just shifting it down a little bit so we can see. And there is another little area here that will actually round the corners. So I'm just going to place each corner in and punch. See how it gives that nice rounded corner? And then punch, punch, and punch. Okay, now what we can do is just set this to the side. You'll see that once you remove your board from your work surface, there will be some leftover little pieces that were cut out. See that? So you can just remove those, put them in your trash, and then we'll take our paper and we'll start scoring. So you can just use that same little scoring tool if you'd like, or if you'd like to use another bone folder, you can. I will just bring in my bone folder. Again, you can use the scoring tool that you have with the board. And then I'm just going to fold in along all of those scored lines. And you'll fold in whichever direction, right, that you want your envelope to be. For me, I really wanted to open it up and have the gold accent on the inside. Of course, because for two reasons. I like that gold accent on the inside of the card, but also because that would just be impossible to write on, correct? So I'm going to go ahead and make that decision like that. And then it's all done. So now what we need to do is we just need to assemble the envelope so that it stays put. Okay, so here's our envelope. And now we just need to add our adhesive. Now what I like to do, and you can do it whichever way you'd like, is I like to add the adhesive to these flaps. You could also add them here, but then you would need to know, you would need to know where to stop so that the sticky doesn't end up sticking to the inside of your envelope. Does that make sense? If you're going to do this piece and add your adhesive here, you're going to need to be mindful not to add adhesive all the way to the little, probably about an inch-ish to the tip, because if you do, once you go to fold, see how that would just stick to the inside of your envelope. So because I just like to make things quick and easy, I don't want to have to think more than I need to when I'm crafting. I am just going to add my adhesive here because I know that once it comes down, boom, it's going to be all done. So I'm just going to take this score tape. I have it in the 1/8 inch size, and I'm going to just measure. Okay. And lay that down. And then measure once more, get a little idea there. And place that there. Okay, now that we have our adhesive strips there, then you're just going to take the little liner and peel that away to reveal the double-sided adhesive. Oops. Okay, there we go. And then this other side, just like that, okay? And it's hard to see because obviously it's clear, but you can see a little bit there. Oh, you can see the foil more than you can the adhesive, but there is that sticky right there. So then you can just bring the bottom up, press down those edges, and you have your pretty envelope. Isn't that pretty? That is just so fun, and then the inside is so nice. So let me show you which card I'm going to put with this envelope. So recently I made this beautiful anniversary card. I do have a tutorial if you would like to learn how to make this yourself, but I thought that this was just a beautiful envelope that coordinated really well with this card. I like that there's a gold accent on the inside as well as the gold accent on the crown, and I just thought it was really fun. So now I can go ahead, slip my little card into my envelope, and then there we go. Now, of course, you don't have any adhesive for sealing it, so you could add a sticker, or at that same point, you could also just add your score tape as well. Any method for closing the final card is up to you. I always like to place a fun little sticker on the back in addition to some adhesive, just because it's nice and fun, but I love that. I think it is just so pretty. Okay, I am one who finds that repetition helps me learn so much, so I thought I would make 2 more envelopes for you today, and then we'll kind of just look at the little pamphlet that came with this scoreboard, just so you can see the other things that this can do. Okay, let's make our next envelope. Okay, let's go ahead and make our next envelope. Again, I'm only doing A2 size envelopes in this tutorial because those are the sizes that I need. So I love A2 size cards. They're pretty much all that I make. So I'm just going to remind myself on the inside of this board that I need to line up my first piece of paper with 3 5/8. So let me put my board up here. Let's do this piece next. So I'm going to line this up at 3 5/8, just like that. Punch down, score at A. And I forgot to bring the little extender out, but it looks like for A2 size, it would not really matter. So let's see if we can do the whole thing at A2 size without the extender. I didn't bring this little arm out, but for this size, it's looking to not be a problem. So then it's faint and hard for you to see because of the busy pattern, but I can see my score line that I just created. So I'm going to go ahead and line up my score line with the score mark on the left side of the board. When I have that lined up, I can punch and then score at A. Okay, turn, line up my score line. Okay, and then making sure I got it lined up. I need to move over a little bit. Okay, then punch and score at A, and then turn, line up my score line, punch, and score on A. Okay, now I can again bring this down a little bit so I can round my corners. So I'll just bring these up and round each of the corners. Okay, putting this to the side for just a moment and grabbing all my little pieces, and then I can fold. So this is the inside of that paper, isn't that fun? Fold and fold and fold. Okay, so now what I can do is take my little bone folder and just make those edges super nice. That way, once the adhesive goes down, these are nice and crisp. And there is our envelope. How sweet. Ugh. Now, you could say this is very busy to write on, but you would find other methods, right? I do actually stick a lot of envelopes in gift bags and such, so sometimes it's not necessary to really put anything on the front, but you could do other things. Another fun idea would be adding an adhesive vinyl with a really bold color on the front. That would be a really fun thing to do, but you can decide how you want to make the front all fun and a dress. Okay, so then again, I prefer to add the adhesive to the sides here. Oops, I'm sorry, the insides of here instead of the top. So I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive strips. I will link to everything I'm using in the description box below. I'll do my best to provide sources for the pattern paper I'm using if I can still locate it. Now, before I close, another thing that you can do is I kind of want to see what it would look like without this little lip up. And I'm thinking that's just about an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my little mini paper trimmer in, and I'm going to see if I can just trim off about an inch just to see what that would look like. So bringing that up so it's lined up and trim. Okay, just out of curiosity. Oh, and you know what? I like that a lot better. Let me see at the A2 size what that ends up being. That ends up being just short of 1 inch. I think I will build that into my workflow. If you like the other way, let me bring in the other one where it has the little lip up. Definitely keep it that way. I actually really like it this way. It kind of looks more like a real envelope to me. So I'm going to go ahead and add that into my workflow. Now, based on the size envelope you do, this could be trimmed shorter or longer. I'm not sure, but at the A2 size, it's just short of 1 inch taken off. Okay, so that was fun and I think worth trying to figure out. Let me go ahead and take my adhesive liner off. 1 and 2. Okay, and then fold down. I really like that. Okay, let me grab the card that will go with this envelope. I recently made this really fun card. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite cards that I've done. Although very simple, I just think it's so fun. I'll place a link to this as well if you'd like to learn how to make this. And in that tutorial as well, I made a shaker card using the same idea, just adding some fun fill. Okay, so I thought that this was really fun to go with this card. I liked how the colors just really complemented one another. So then, of course, I can just slip this right in, and I have a fun coordinating envelope to go with a really fun card inside. Love it. I just think this is so fun and it's so easy. And if I wasn't chit-chatting with you, this would take zero time at all. So there is our second envelope. Let's go ahead and make one more and we'll see what additional things this little scoreboard can do. Okay, lather, rinse, repeat, right? This is just so easy. So opening up my scoreboard, and I'm going to use this pretty piece of pattern paper. It has a foil look to it on the back side, which is going to be, let's see, what do I want to do? Well, maybe I'll decide in a moment. I can always decide after I have it all scored. Okay, so although I do like to fold a certain way with scoring, but you know what, let's just have fun with it, and we can just see how each way turns out. So starting off with 3 5/8, here we go, punch, score at A, and again, I really don't need that extender for this A2 size. It's working beautifully without it. It's just the right size. It goes right to the end. Turn, line up my score mark with this score mark in the board. Looks good. Punch and score along A. Turn, line up the score line. And sometimes you kind of have to feel with your finger, especially, you know, even in, you can see the score line if I hover over with my hand, but even in person it's a little difficult to see the score line sometimes. So sometimes if you run your finger over it, then it kind of helps. Punch, score, and then our final one, lining up our score line. Okay. That looks good. Punch and score. Okay, let's round off our corners. Again, you don't need to. You certainly don't need to if you do not wish to have that look. I really think it's nice. It just softens it and it makes it look like a professional envelope. So that's why I do it. Oops, I got a little off there. Oh, much better. Okay, and then there. Okay, so putting this one away. I love that they build in a little place for the score tool. That's so handy because if you're like me, sometimes things like that can very easily misplace themselves. All right. And, you know, I'm kind of liking that well, okay, I'm not sure. Usually I don't want to kind of overfold it, but just for fun, let's see. I'm kind of liking the foil on the inside. Oh yes, final answer. That's so pretty. For just fun, this is how it would look the other way. I don't want to overfold it though, just because I don't want to weaken the paper. But that is how it would look the other way. Ooh, that's fun too. Okay, so turning this over, I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. And I'm going to take off just about 1 inch. And if you place this flap down, then you can line your edge of your envelope up here. There, that'll focus. You can line that up so that this ends up being straight. So just fold one of those down and just about 1 inch. You can see I'm really not measuring here. Okay. So, yep, that is just about 1 inch. Okay, and I think that will still be just beautiful. So let's check. That's perfect. I love it. I really like that look. Okay, adding my score tape to give some adhesive. And again, any glue method that you would prefer is absolutely fine. I like this score tape. I think it's pretty nice. And there's no drying involved, so I like that a lot too. There we go. Okay, let's take off our little pieces. I hope that 3 in a row really helped solidify the whole process. It's so easy, right? It's just so easy. Okay, oops, that one's not wanting to lay down. There we go. Okay, and press this down. That is so pretty. Okay, let's get the card that's going to go with this envelope. Okay, another fun card. I thought that this coordinated really fun, especially because it has some floral aspects that I thought went really well with that floral aspect of this pattern paper. And then I just loved that this had some gold accents and that mint color that this did. Believe it or not, these have absolutely nothing to do with one another, but I thought they complemented one another beautifully. I do also have a tutorial on how I created this card. It was in one of my Spellbinders card kit of the month boxes, and this is probably one of my favorite cards. I just love it. I adore it so much. So I accidentally forgot to fold the top, but no problem at all. So now I can just go ahead and slip this in and close, and there we go. How pretty is that? I just love it. I think it is so fun. I love that if you do choose something that has a double side, then you will also have an additional bit of fun on the inside as well, which I think is just beautiful. So I really like that. I hope you thought this was fun as well. So there are the 3 envelopes we made. So quick, so easy, and I think they're all just beautiful. And again, based on the pretty pattern paper that you choose, you could just get so unique with this and really, really have fun complementing the card that's going to go inside. Let's go ahead and see what other things this can do, and then pop down into the comments and let me know if you want to see me demonstrate or play around with any of the other things that this 1-2-3 punch board can create. Okay, bringing in the instruction book that comes with this punch board. It's also called an idea book, which I really appreciate because sometimes I like to see what other things, you know, I've invested in this little product, right? It's amazing, but I also want to see what else it can do. It's so neat when you're surprised that it can do additional things. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so of course we have the instructions for doing an envelope. And then that continues on this page as well. Then they can create bows. I think this is beautiful. Do you remember my We Are Memory Keepers surprise box? Let me grab that. Recently in a tutorial, I made this really fun surprise box. I'll link that tutorial if you would like to see how to make this. It's so fun. But I added my own burlap board onto the top, or a burlap bow to the top, excuse me, and I thought that that was super fun. But look, you could actually make one out of paper as well. Although I do really like the idea of having a different material and texture to this. But once you open up something like this, then there is a fun element of surprise on the inside, and it is just way too fun, way too cool, and also way too easy to make. So that is what I instantly thought of when seeing that this new punch board can create bows. I instantly thought of this box because that would be a fun way to dress up that box as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue with instructions for the bow. And then, as you can see, it did say envelopes, bows, and box. So now we're on to the box. How cute are these? That is just so fun. I could think of a million things you could use these for. So simple and so fun. Continuing on to the instructions for that. Then we have envelope liners. This is what I wanted to speak to really quickly, because if you do come across a paper that you just absolutely love, but don't find that it is double-sided, then you do have an option of creating a liner for the inside. That looks so fun. So that's great because like I said, when I was browsing through my scrapbook paper to find some coordinating paper for the 3 envelopes that I made today, I found that a lot of my paper is one-sided. So don't let that deter you. It looks like you can create an envelope liner as well. Okay, then we have a string tie box. Well, that is super cool. So you can end up tying a little ribbon to the top and have that be the closure. Very, very fun. Coin envelopes, very cute. That is so fun. This would be really fun around Christmas time if you needed to make some little things in bulk. Very cute. And file folder cards. Very fun. Oh my gosh. I'm really inspired by this for some reason. Now I have to think of what I would want to make a tiny little file folder for. Oh, I love that. Let me know what you would use that for. Okay, and that concludes the little idea/instruction book that comes with the punch board. All right, everyone, it's time for me to get back to crafting, so I'm going to wrap this video up. Please be sure to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this and were inspired in any way. Drop down into the comments and let me know if any of those ideas from the idea book really sparked your interest, and if you would like, I can definitely make some tutorials and have some fun with some of the other ideas that this punch board can do. I hope this was inspiring in some way or another. I am in love because I love a fun, patterned, and really just fun customized envelope. I think this is going to just be one of the funnest parts of card making. Just when you think all of the fun has been had, then you get to make the envelope, and that's just way too fun. Okay, everyone, I will see you in the next video. If you're brand new, be sure to subscribe to see what is coming to my craft table next, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!